Hey there, welcome to day 879 of What's She Up To Now. What the heck is What's She Up To Now? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, which is where the she comes from. Got divorced but kept my initials because I like S-H-E as initials much better than S-A-H, Sharon Ann Horn. So, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom. I've been divorced. I've been divorced since 2015. Just finalized a lot of it actually during COVID-19. Finally, gave us an opportunity to separate all the things that we'd done together, except our children, of course. I'm keeping them. They're mine. And they're ours, I guess. But so lots of changes. So I'm calling this one Cha-Cha-Cha Changes. Does anybody remember that song? Turn and Face the Change, or Turn and Face the Pain, Cha-Cha-Cha Changes. And it's probably from, oh my God, the 70s. And it's called Changes. But that song is playing through my mind and playing through my head today. Primarily because there's so much changing, and it's all the time. It's like, you know, when a record gets going, it starts out at the normal pace, and then it gets faster and faster and faster and faster. It's kind of how I feel like we're moving in our world and in our life right now, except for the last couple of months where everything stopped, right? Dead stop for so many people. Millions and millions of people have been impacted and changed in ways that will never go back to being the way things were, right? I think we're forever changed. And unfortunately, I was at my sister's yesterday waiting for the garage repairman for her because she was going to get her hair done. And so my granddaughter and I went and we played over there and hung over at her house, which is always really fun. It's fun to get a new environment. She's got a lovely home, and so I like going there. It's fun to go and visit. So we're hanging out at her house, and she came back and she was talking about how goofy people have gotten and how, you know, after 9/11, everyone in America pulled together and they were kinder and we embraced one another, and it was just a totally different environment than we're feeling now. And I am still not out in the world very much. I admit it. I'm a kind of, not a hermit, but I was kind of being a hermit before, and COVID-19 just let everybody else join me in being a little bit more hermetuous, if that's a word. More of a hermit, more stay at home, more doing things from the comfort of my home. For a lot of reasons. I've got massive visual challenges, and that makes certain freedoms that I've always experienced, like being able to go where I want, when I want, driving myself, and having freedom to not doing that any longer. Mainly because it puts not only me at risk, but it especially puts other people at risk. So, changes. But the changes that I'm experiencing, seeing, and maybe we can blame it on social media or on the media or on the negativity of the world or the election year and politics, but for some reason, people are being far less kind and way more suspicious of one another than I have ever seen in any time in history. And if I'm feeling it, then there's something going on, right? Because I am not interacting with that many people. Now, my granddaughter's still awesome and loves me unconditionally, but other people I've noticed in traffic when I'm going for walks, you know, crossing the street, there's still a couple people that are just really kind and considerate, but there's other people that are just so focused on what they're doing that they're not paying attention to anything around them. They're not being cognizant of their surroundings. It's kind of like being socially aware and following social etiquette. People have just thrown out the window any common curtain, and not everybody, but just there's the few bad apples I'm talking about that have just thrown out any common courtesy and kindness toward other human beings. And I don't know where it's come from. It just feels like there's more of it going on. And maybe I'm wrong. Share in the comments below if you're like, I'm not experiencing that at all. Share that, because I want to hear from the people that are just not seeing any of that or experiencing any of that. And I'm not looking for it. Believe me, I'm not looking for more negative behavior ever. But when it infringes on me personally, then I notice it, right? It's like I always trust people automatically until they do something to harm me, which is not a great philosophy, by the way. I've gotten burnt a couple of times really, really bad by that. But for the most part, that belief has served me really well. Hey, everybody's just doing the best they can with what they've got right now. I believe that about people. And that increases trust in my ability to interact with other human beings. And I like that philosophy a whole lot better than the alternative, being distrustful and thinking people are evil or bad or out to get you. It's just not so. Most people are just doing the best they can with what they've got right now, trying to create a life that feels good to them. But I want to just remind everybody today to take a deep breath, smile at a stranger, be kind. You know, we're not going out and hugging one another anymore, but we can still look in somebody's eyes, acknowledge them, and smile at them, and just let them know that they matter. So many people have been so separated and so alone lately. People just need you to look at them and acknowledge them, and just say hi. Why can't you just say hi to people? So that's my tirade about the way people are treating one another. Get Up and Go Challenge Day 25 today, all about action, taking action. So go out and smile at somebody today, right? Say hello, phone a friend, do something to make somebody else's life a little happier and have a little more sunshine in it. Guess what that will do for your life? You know what it'll do for your life. It'll make you feel better as well. So we were talking about action today and patterns of behavior. And I think we've had a huge pattern interrupt as a world, and it's up to us, each and every one of us on an individual basis, to decide the pattern's been interrupted. The pattern of how we were living our life and what we were doing before has been massively stopped and interrupted. Kind of like when I had my sudden cardiac arrest. Nothing stops you more than dying to absolutely re-examine your priorities and choose how you're going to behave, how you're going to respond, and what's important to you, and reset your priorities. Well, the whole world has had an opportunity now to reset, reshift, and relook at our priorities. I doubt that very many people have done that. You know, statistically, I would imagine maybe 3 to 10% of the population has actually done that on a on-purpose conscious level. The rest of, there's all kinds, of course, like anything, any types of behavior. There's people that have made things worse for themselves, and they're focusing on everything that's bad, ain't it awful, and they're victims. There's people that, you know, actually have been victimized by the things that go on in the world, because there's people that are always being victimized. There's a difference between staying a victim, though, and deciding to change and become a victor. Each one of us, believe it or not, whenever we're victimized, we have that choice. And sometimes we all play the victim, but the longer we stay there, it's kind of like living in negative emotions. The longer we stay there, the more it hurts us. It doesn't hurt other people, it hurts us. And why do we want to keep hurting ourselves? We don't. So there's the people that are truly hurt by it. There's most of the people in the middle that are somewhere on the spectrum of taking action and changing or not. Most people will not have changed anything because of the pandemic. The vast majority of people will not. They'll go back to the same patterns and the same beliefs and the same behavior, or a little declined than they were before. And then there'll be the people that actually change and benefit and grow and expand and contribute to the world in a positive way because of this. It's that way for everything that happens to us or around us, and each and every one of us. We all have the choice and the opportunity to be in that 10%, but most people won't choose to be in it. We just don't choose to be in it because it takes more, and I hate the word sacrifice because I think sacrifice is an optional feeling, but it takes more work, you know. People often think work is a sacrifice. It's not, it's a choice, right? I choose to work. I love to work. I love work. Work is not it's a good 4-letter word to me, like love. I choose to work. I choose love. It's not a sacrifice to me to put in time and energy creating something that I want and love and to make the world a better place. To me, that's not a sacrifice. But to most people, work is just something they have to do to support the rest of what they really want to do. It's just the way it is for most people. And for most people, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe these are just my beliefs. I could be wrong, right? You have to always question everything that anybody says, including me, right? I'm not an expert, I'm not a guru on this stuff. I never claim to be. I'm just sharing my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions, my experience moving from the offline world to the online world and the things that I'm observing. And again, I live in this little part of the world. This is my universe. This is the universe, right? So I can only talk from my own experience and share what I've learned in my little journey around the globe and the planet. I haven't been much around the globe either. Leave that to my son. So changes in, as I'm going through the Get Up and Go challenge this time, and I always do my own challenges, but this was a challenge that I was challenged to do personally, along with 150,000 plus other entrepreneurs, to do a personal 40-day challenge. And we could pick one area of our life, or we could pick, several. And I'm like, if I'm doing a challenge, I'm going to bring other people right along with me, especially on a longer challenge like a 40-day challenge. So I am going through each of these aspects and areas of my life, teaching and sharing the SOAP model, the SOAP framework that I've used and I continue to use to get me results in days compared to other people what takes them years to accomplish. And that's what my gift to, and I want to teach everybody to do this too, so that they can make sure, so that you can make sure you're living your best life and moving in the direction you really want your life to go, not letting things like COVID-19 shut you down and stop you and kick you out of the game, right? The game of your life, or the experience of your life. So I'm doing, actually this week I'm doing mental, because mental aspect of us, our thoughts and our beliefs are a huge component of everything that we do, everything that we are. Actually, our thoughts create everything, right? Our thoughts create our life. Our thoughts create our reality. So you can tell me you don't believe that. That's fine. But that is my 100% experiential belief that we create absolutely everything in our life, whether we want it or not. Whether we believe it or not, that's exactly what happens. So, Get Up and Go Challenge was all about action today, the A in SOAP, and we talked about patterns and our own individual personal patterns. And tomorrow I'm going to share the ultimate pattern interrupt, how you can immediately interrupt your own patterns, the best way to do that. And that'll be under P, but P in this case is for process, the process that we do things through. And no, it's not for process, it's for progress. Hello, it's for progress. I don't even know my own framework some days. So progress and process, a lot of how we make progress is the processes and systems and procedures and things that we put in place. I love P words for some reason. Plan, procedure, process. I like P words. Fun challenge today was day 170 of our 365-day challenge to do one fun thing every day. And I am so glad that I picked fun for 2020 because I'm hanging out with my beautiful little granddaughter 5 days a week, and it's fun to find fun things to do every day versus, you know, falling into the old patterns of doing things just because we're bored or because we don't want to be creative and think of other things to do. And if I can facilitate and help her to hang on to her creativity, to her amazing imagination longer and not let it get beat out of her at a young age, I think that I'm doing her a good service, because I don't know about you, but I know I was a really, really creative and active youngster, and school and the school system and other people, I let them beat that out of me for the longest time. And that's part of why I'm focusing on change right now. And changes, because I know that after living decades for other people, at some point we step up and we say, okay, it's time that I live and create the things that feel right for me. And maybe it's part of being divorced, my kids being grown up, that I'm giving myself permission to do that. But I wish I would have done it when I was like 20, 25. I think life would have been a lot different and a lot more fun. But, you know, I've had an awesome life. I'm not complaining. What else is going on? Get Up and Go Challenge. Fun challenge. Those are the biggies right now. I'm in a mastermind group for branding and working on rebranding and retooling. And if you followed me or known me for a while, for about 2 years, more than 2 years of being online, I showed up as Pajama Grandma, and I did everything in my robe and in my pajamas. Started that in about 2018, I think. Probably the beginning of 2008. Yeah, 2 years. Actually been 2 years, and I retired her. I was going to kill her off, but then we had the pandemic, and it just didn't seem appropriate. So she's kind of playing in the background on the Fun Challenge, because I'm doing the Fun Challenge on my Pajama Grandma page and group. But at the end of the year, when we're done with the 365-day Fun Challenge, I will have phased her out entirely. Or maybe she'll just be a segment on my podcast where she'll pop in, and Pajama Grandma will do one little segment on my podcast. I'm looking at, based on the training and teaching of Heather Ann Havenwood, doing some changes to how I've done my podcast. I think I've got 3,000, over 3,000 episodes on my podcast, and they've already kind of been in different segments, but she recommends that you do once a week, you do a longer podcast, and then you break it down and syndicate that out. It's not what I'm doing. I've been just doing different segments and then syndicating them out, and now I'll do them more intentionally, and that's what I mean by changes. I don't see myself only producing content once a week. I know that's easier for most people, but I'm not most people, and it doesn't feel like the right way to do content for me. But I think I'm going to add that component of the once a week longer version and add interviews and add things, because I love doing interviews. I just haven't done many lately because I wasn't focusing in on my one thing. So I think I've got my one thing, and I'm feeling great about that because it is me. Yeah, it's kind of like Pajama Grandma was me. So we'll fade her out, but I think she might continue to pop in for a segment in the weekly. I think I like that. I just thought of that. Actually, you guys, one thing about this segment, it is me thinking on my feet about what I want to do and what direction I want to go. So I think I just decided once a week, Pajama Grandma will show up as part of a short segment. And maybe she'll just show up and do the fun challenge. Maybe that will be how she shows up, and we'll experiment with that till the end of the year, and we'll see how that plays out and how that works. All right, if I can help you in any way, please ask in the comments below. Again, I might not know the answer, but I definitely have the connections and the experience to help you get going in the right direction. Absolutely, positively, 100% certainty. It is my innate ability. It's like finding things. I have this weird way of being able to find lost things, and it's the same with knowing what to do next. And guess what? We always think we need to know all the way from point A to point B, but we don't. We just need to know the next step toward B. We just need to know the next thing, and once we take that next step, all of a sudden what we really need to do and where we need to go, it just magically appears. And it isn't magic, it's just us breaking it down into manageable, actionable pieces that allows us to get some momentum and some progress going toward what we want. All right, have a great day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with a little update on how is it going, what am I doing as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world, and how you can too. Take care. Bye.